I was talking to you about like, I was doing my insurance claim, and it's like it's the first claim I've really done. One, because everybody instills the fear that if you use your insurance is going to go up, your points are going to go up. You know what I'm saying? So like, you don't want to make a claim that if even in the slightest, it could be your fault because they're going to raise your, you know what I'm saying? They're going to raise everything. So now I'm 26, bro. I'm filing my first insurance claim, and I feel like I'm in high school, bro. Like I have to ask questions. I got to research. I got to, look at, whatever's here. I got to talk to somebody. Like, yo, bro, what did you do? Oh, okay, this is what I should do. Okay, I'm copying notes. I'm at a loss. I'm genuinely at a loss. Like I feel lost, and I know that I'm probably like I'm not gonna do it right because it's my first time doing it. And obviously, like these companies are not built to help you. I call them because they have a number, and they tell me to go to their website. They tell me to fill out a form, and they tell me they're gonna send me an email. I'm like, bro, I just want to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
I just want answers, man.
You want somebody to help me solve my problem.
You know what I'm saying? And realistically, nobody wants to help you.
Yeah.
That's the realest part of it. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody wants to help you. So you should educate yourself.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna get difficult, bro.
The more you know, the more you can advocate for yourself, right? And the less other people can play you. You know what I mean? That's why it's important to be financially literate. And financial literacy doesn't just mean making a budget, but also understanding, I think, the nuances of all the most basic necessity expenses. Like, we live in a city where you kind of need to have a car if you want to have a good income. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to drive to work, right? You got to drive through weather conditions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We live in a city where we live in a state where you have to have insurance.
Yeah.
So many people be driving around with out of state plates. They live here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They just don't. Those cars don't have insurance. You know what I'm saying? So, right there's so many, but the thing is, then there's so many like nooks and crannies to like even an insurance policy to financing a car, or buying a car cash, getting a car inspected.
Actually, just understanding what interest is, what your deductible is. Like there's just so much vocabulary that you should really study in because you hear a word and you're like, okay, like that does this. But what does it mean? You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of things I understand the function of, but I don't know how they work.
No, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like that's a lack of information. That's a lack of education, whether it's from myself or from, when I was in school, whatever. But like, so like that's something that I gotta take accountability for. I gotta own up because I can't blame somebody for something I don't know if the knowledge is available.
No, yeah. If you have the autonomy and the power to educate yourself, and you don't do so, that's a failure on your part.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I gotta take responsibility for that.
Yeah. No,
that's just how it boils down.
You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking about the fact where it's like, yo, I feel like I haven't really, I feel like I had this discussion with some of my students recently, right? We're reading a book, Parable of the Sower, and one of the characters, he seems to be like dying to grow up too fast. Like literally actually dying to grow up too fast. He got his ass whooped. Because he did some reckless stuff, trying to be a big man, right?
Yep.
Trying to be grown, right? And so you get this thing. It's like we all do this. This is natural in every human being. I don't know why, but we all want to like grow up and be bigger than we are. And I think, especially when we enter our 20s, especially our early 20s, we feel a sense of power just via like age.
Yeah.
But like at 21, what are you really doing? Are you really an adult?
Nah, bro, you just crossed the threshold.
You just crossed the threshold. You know what I'm saying? Your bills probably haven't really started adding up and coming in, right?
You are now an adult, age 1.
There are some people I know where it was like literally there was foster care kids. They get emancipate themselves at 17, and they have to. The stuff they're doing at 18 is the stuff I'm doing now at like 25 with my finances, right? Because they have to grow up a lot sooner. But I think especially here in the States, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people they're allowed to have something of an extended childhood.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if you can't get past that barrier, I feel like some people don't realize that childhood is over. You know what
The
I'm
free
saying?
trial is done, bro. You
The
gotta
free
start
trial
paying
is-
for the subscription, dog. Like it's not easy, bro. And like I find myself teetering in between that where I'm like, I'm so glad I'm an adult. I'm a grown man. You know, I could focus on myself. Every choice I make is mine. And then I'm like, man, 10 years ago, bro, I was doing
Living
life, bro.
life.
I was so free. The
So
freest you'll
good.
ever be is when you're 16 with money. I
Mm-hmm.
have yet to feel that financial liberty. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Where I'm just like, yo, bro, what do you want to do? I got you, bro. I got it. Because I'm making paper like that.
Mhm.
Now, yo, you want to go out to a breakfast? You know, want to go to breakfast? You want to go to a birthday dinner? Mom, let me consult with my budget real quick.
Oh God, bro.
Like,
we literally have a homie whose birthday's coming up, and he's like, "Yo, we're going to a fancy ass dinner. Everybody bring $100." I was like, "Ooh."
Just for the meal, not for the night, just for the meal.
Just for the meal, bro. And I'm like, "Yo, that's slow. That's slow.
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
not doing that."
I'm like, yeah, that's when you call in, bro. That's when you call in your budget. You be like, yo, budget, can I do that? And there's
Let's go take a walk in the park for free.
yeah.
Let's go out for some beers, bro. Beers, you know what I'm saying?
It's
we
cool,
can have
bro.
beers for $20.
Yeah.
A couple beers for $20, right? Probably get some bar food with that too.
Little, you know, little snack, you know, whatever.
I mean, yo, thanks for watching. If you're trying to see his character development out of my mom's crib, please like and subscribe.
Yo, that's good. That's good.
You like that one?
Yeah. You want to see his character development at this crib?
I wear my heart on the sleeve, but who does it? I'm in a generation where you just say fuck it. Love don't exist unless you out of school, pockets full of money, and you got no issues with your daddy or your mommy. But I ain't gonna sit here and lie. I thought about texting X a couple of times, thinking it would help. Just to remember, it was dopamine I felt at 5:53 or 6:23 in the morning. But we did most of our loving in your bedroom. To be honest, to the public eye, all they saw was kisses and hugs. But behind closed doors, you talk shit all the times. Now you trapped up in my rhyme, got me writing all the time, hoping over time I can heal myself. Now over time I just hurt myself, so I just